Welcome to Golden Speakers Toastmasters Club of Fairfield, Iowa. And can I be captivating? And now for our president, Satish Sababaji.
Thank you, Veera, for that bubbly welcome. Good evening, all, and welcome once again to Golden Speakers Toastmasters Club. The mission of every Toastmaster Club is to provide a mutually supportive and a positive learning environment in which every individual member has an opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. We have a guest here. Would you like to introduce yourself and share with us what brought you here?
My name is Walt Martin, and I was here about 3 years ago, and I liked it very much, but I was thinking, well, if I ever get a book that's published, then I would come back and learn how to speak in public, which I know nothing about, and so I'm going to have a book published next year by Sterling Publishing. It's called The Cosmic View of Albert Einstein, and I'm very excited about it. It's owned by Barnes & Noble, so it's a big deal.
Now it's time to turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster, Marilyn Grable.
Thank you and welcome everybody, Toastmasters and guests at home. So I'm fresh back from California. My nephew is happily married, and I gave a toast at the wedding dinner. Oh, I love our quote tonight, things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. Now, I was just at Optimum Health Institute for a week after the wedding, and we were discussing one day this very topic of time management. And just in less than a minute, I'll just tell you about these 4 quadrants. Important, urgent. Quadrant 2, important, not urgent. Quadrant 3, not important, urgent. And quadrant 4, not important, not urgent. Now, if you can remember those, which quadrant gets slipped under the rug?
Number 4.
Important,
No, 4 is
not urgent.
Actually, it's number 2, important but not urgent. Like your health, like your exercise, like your yoga and meditation and relationships. That type of thing gets slipped under the rug and overlooked. For the things that are urgent, some things are important, like bill paying, but some things are not important, like, well, all of our media really stresses urgent. You've got to get this product in 2 days, or cravings. Let's see, getting swept up in somebody else's drama. And then I also said phone and email. And then not important, not urgent, mindlessly watching TV. Surfing the internet totally every day. So that's what I mean. So now this quote just came up. I just became Toastmaster a few hours ago. And I love this quote because this is what we were just talking about last week at Optimum Health. Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. So we really got to think about these things that are important, but not totally urgent, not emergencies. Tonight, we're talking about priorities. Our role players tonight will be general evaluator. Later in the meeting will be Jean Symington Craig. Our all counters, Jesus, would you like to tell us what the all counter does?
My duties are not counter is to those things. I'm looking for those things. Who arms like you know, so, but, and tongue clicks, which are the next 3 items: pauses, zeros, and pause start. I would like somebody to please give me a little idea what is the things that I'll be looking for in those items. Zeros.
False start, is it like,
False start, okay.
I,
Pause, is that a, like 2 minutes pause? Xerox? Xerox, X-E-R-O-X.
Copy.
Repeating.
Repeats, does repeats?
Yeah.
Okay. And I will start right from this moment, including guests. Thank you. I will
No.
do a report at the end of the meeting.
no.
And our grammarian tonight is Jyoti Raj.
First Toastmaster guest in viewers at home. Tonight my role is a role of grammarian. What I do is I provide the word of the day so that we should have at least something to take home. The word of the day tonight is captivate. Captivating. Captivate means to attract and hold by charm, beauty, or excellence. Actually, it means it's something that, how to say it? It's something holding with great attraction. Like we can see the the meaning here of captivating, capturing interest as if by a spell. Something is spellbound by something, that attraction. So the synonyms are charm, enchant, fascinate, magnetize. Yeah, that's the best word here would be, the meaning would be magnetize, so attraction. So here is the sentence, how we use it. The play has been captivating audience for years. So that play was so good that it is attracting, keeping the audience for so long. Her blue eyes and red hair captivated him. So he fell in love with her because of her blue eyes and red hair. That's captivating. My role would be, I'll see the use of the word, keep a track of the word, and again try to see if there is any awkward or any misuses of languages of the speakers, and I'll give the report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
And Will Burns will captivate us with a joke at the end of the meeting. He was our great Our ballot counters are Satish Sabatpati, and leader counter is Cindy Trainer. Okay, so let's get started.
Got a timer.
Oh, the timer. I am so sorry. Our timer tonight is Vera Rhodes.
Yo!
And for your timing times, table topics is 1 to 2 minutes. I do the green light at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red at 2 minutes. And prepared speeches tonight are one person asked for 7 to 9 minutes, which again, at 7 comes the green, yellow, the middle, the 8 minute and 9 minute will be the red. And one has 8 to 10 minutes, so 8 would be the green, and 9 be the yellow, and 10 the red. Table topics evaluator is 2 to 3 minutes. Speech evaluators, 2 to 3 minutes. All speakers and evaluators have a 30-second grace period after the red light is turned on. Table topic speakers need to speak for at least 1 minute to qualify for votes. And I'll report at the end of the meeting.
Now we'll go right on to table topics. Our table topics master tonight is Louis Denbone.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, club members, guests, and viewers at home. Tonight we'll stick with the theme of priorities, and this is the opportunity for anyone who doesn't have a role to come up and participate in tonight's meeting by speaking extemporaneously and trying to captivate our audience with your wonderful table topic. So who doesn't have a role and would like to come up and do a table topic? Please raise your hand. Tom, come on up. So what is your top priority in your life and why? What is your top priority and why?
It's your table topics. All Toastmasters, viewers at home. A very interesting question about what is my top priority in life. The interesting part of my life now is I have nothing that captivates me that rises to a top priority except the next obvious thing. See, when you work for the CIA, that's called the Cosmic Intelligence Agency, they don't give you long-term plans. About the longest term plan they give you is about a minute away. So priorities become whatever's right in front of you right now. It demands your attention. It demands that you do something or interact with some person, some captivating person who's just in need of attention. Now, that sounds certifiable. And for most people, in most towns, I wouldn't dare say this. But in Fairfield, anything goes. As you know, Fairfield is the world's largest outpatient mental health clinic, where you can't tell the difference between the staff and the patients. Matter of fact, some days you get to be a patient, and some days you get to be a staff. The only question is they never let you know which role you're playing. So welcome to Fairfield. Enjoy your stay. 25 square miles of Ooga Booga surrounded by a totally different reality. That's the table topic.
And I am thankful that they let me out tonight to be here.
Yeah.
So I can participate in tonight's meeting. And I do hope, Tom, the CIA and your fellow members follow me home tonight.
Yes, yes.
Next, and by the way, guests are allowed to participate in table topics. All right,
John doesn't have a role.
somebody else?
John doesn't have
John,
a
come
role.
on up. Okay. Question is, how do you prioritize all the things in your life? And is it working? How do you prioritize all the things in your life, and is it working?
Thank you. Honored guests, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. I guess I didn't do a real good job of prioritizing, because I was supposed to give my icebreaker and I was out of state for this week. I didn't even plan to be back tonight, but I was able to make it back, so I wasn't able to prepare. I wasn't captivated enough to put that on my top list of priorities. I didn't have my computer with me, so I have to say I have to apologize for that. I guess I try to prioritize when I can. I try to make a list of the most important things I need to do. And I found out that way back in 1957, 30 years later, they took a look at how the class of Yale did. They found out that about 2% of the people in that class were very, very wealthy. They could do anything they wanted. They were very successful, the cream of the crop of the world. About another 8% They were very wealthy, they could pretty much do what they wanted. And the rest of the 90% of the people, they just went through life and it didn't make any difference what kind of an education they had. And they found out that that happened to be the same for every college in this country. So what was it that they did? The top 2% of the people throughout any part of any college, they prioritize and they make a written notes of what they should do, things to do each day. They have a daily plan, a weekly plan, a monthly plan, a yearly plan, a 5-year plan, and they work through it. The other 8% of the people, they make a mental plan. I guess I try to fall into that. I've tried to put a sheet together, things I need to do, 14 lists. Down the bottom I put, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, to remind me that I can take charge and prioritize. And when I do that, I always find out that I get more done each day. I try to work through the things that are more important, so I do prioritize. When I follow that, I get more done, but most of the time, I just mentally try to make a note of what to do, and it helps, but it isn't as good as it is when I actually do it. So I see my time's up. Again, I'm sorry for not putting my icebreaker speech as top priority, so thank you.
We have time for one more? Yes? Okay. Who's next? Don't be shy. Make it a priority to get up here. Cindy. What do you think should be the top 3 priorities of the United States of America? What do you think should be the top 3 priorities of the United States of America?
If I become elected President of the United States, my top 3 priorities are to get back into economic balance, get America's noses out of other countries' business, and to have fun. Well, I really couldn't think of a good third politically correct topic, but I thought having fun would help people relax, maybe a little more financial flow, little people might loosen their pockets, their purse strings a little bit. But my number 1 priority would be able to get Americans' nose out of other countries' business. This is one of my personal rants. When did it happen, and I'm not a student of history, but when did it happen where the United States decided that they could be the world's watchdog? Why did that happen? Was it just political? Was it economic? Was it both? Neither, but why? Why do American presidents and the government have to get their noses into everybody else's business? Just boggles me. Trying to rectify that would mean having to create a lot of jobs at home, because how are you going to employ your military when you pull them back home? They're not overseas anymore, they're not working for the military. You have to find something home for them to be gainfully employed in. Could you expand the police force with National Guard? Who knows? But somebody's got to do it. Might as well be me.
Sounds like if Cindy were our president, we'd get back to fundamentals. Who's our next volunteer? Art?
Right, Art.
All right. Welcome. On a daily basis, after you've brushed your teeth, What are your top 3 daily priorities, and how successful are you in sticking to them?
Thank you, Louis. Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, and viewers. My top 3 priorities when I wake up and brush my teeth are to put on some piece of clothing so that somebody has an idea of what I do. Maybe I succeeded today. To talk to as many people as possible about it, and to have fun in the process. This whole talk about priorities has been so darn relevant. I mean, Marilyn introducing this classic priorities, important versus urgency. That's straight out of one of the books that I read recently. Stephen Covey, I believe, could have offered nothing more valuable than that. If that was all that he'd ever offered, it would have been major, and that was just one small piece of all the great things that Stephen Covey offered us. Priorities on a daily basis. Well, doing what I do offers plenty of opportunity to be rearranging things, keeping track of stuff, getting files updated, doing busy work that doesn't have me talking to anybody. And those really I've discovered, even though they're a comfort zone for me and it's easy to do them, they end up really being in the category of anywhere from urgent to not urgent and not very important, not compared to talking to people. Today I had a wonderful experience of talking to somebody and having the right conversation a month later yield a great result. I got a new team member today virtually without trying, because you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. I want to address the other interesting questions. How do I keep my priorities straight? I keep them straight by using a day timer. I discovered a long time ago that slips of paper, I was going nuts with notes written on slips of paper. So I made it a commitment to using the day timer and not writing anything down. If it was important enough to write it down, I went in the day timer. And that has saved my, you know what, more times than I care to remember. Thank you.
Yo!
And now, the timer will tell us if everyone qualified.
They did.
All right, and please read the names so that we can vote for the best table topics speaker.
Tom, John, Cindy, and Art.
Okay, so please fill out your ballot and elect the table topics winner for tonight. And now I'd like to introduce our table topics evaluator, Stacy Maurer.
Yo!
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. So we had a really captivating table topic session there, right? Let's just go through all the people here. First of all, we had Tom Trainer, our distinguished Toastmaster, one of the founders, I believe, of this club. Anyway, so Tom is like a real pro, and he used the word of the day, really great. He also had a lot of stories to tell and really made us laugh. Truthfully, I don't have any suggestions. So if somebody else has a suggestion, anybody have a suggestion for Tom? Please. Okay.
Don't laugh.
Anyway, I know that's not your job, but since I fell down on mine. Okay, next one is John Weiss. And John came right up. He used the word of the day also. Very good. And he told us a story about the Yale graduates, which was very interesting, about how the ones that were the most successful had written plans, the ones that were fairly successful had the mental plans, and then the people that just kind of had ordinary lives had absolutely no plan. So that's that's a good example for us. One recommendation I have is you don't have to apologize for not doing your icebreaker. I wouldn't apologize for anything up here. Nothing. Don't apologize for anything up here. You have the stage, you're in charge. You don't have to apologize for anything. But very nice story. Cindy talked about the top 3 priorities of the United States. And she said one of them should be economic balance. One of them should be get our nose out of other countries' business. Amen to that. And the other one should be have more fun. Have fun. So the only recommendation I have for you is maybe you could get out and move around a little bit for your 3 priorities. Just a suggestion. Again, you're a pro, so it's kind of hard to think of that when you're up here doing table topics because you're thinking about what to say. And you had a really good ending, like that's what I'm going to do when I'm in charge. Art was talking about his top 3 priorities, and he gave us a tip on how he manages his priorities with using the day timer. He also, he was stood behind the podium like this all the time, so I suggest you come out and connect with your audience more, come out from behind the podium and talk to them. That's my only suggestion for Art. And he had a really good talk, made us all laugh. Didn't he make us all laugh? I think so.
Yep.
So we had a lot of good laughs tonight. Really appreciate it. Great table topics, everyone. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, everybody who participated in table topics. It was wonderful. And now we have our prepared speeches. And our first prepared speech will be by Darlene Martin, and to introduce her will be Dan Craig.
Fellow Toastmasters, our guest, viewers at home. This week, Darlene is working on project number 6, Vocal Variety. The objectives for project 6 are use voice, volume, pitch, rate, and quality to reflect and add meaning and interest to your message. Use pauses to enhance your message. Use vocal variety smoothly and naturally. Darlene lived in Oakhurst, California, near Yosemite National Park for 6 years from 1998 to 2004. During 4 of those years, she worked at Bassett Furniture Direct as a design consultant / sales coordinator. She commuted 1 hour down the hill to Fresno and 1 hour back up the hill 4 to 5 days a week. Oakhurst is a very beautiful and rural area and very dark at night. Half of her drive was very scenic with winding roads and the lovely smell of pine trees. Darlene is going to share an event that happened coming home from work one evening. The title of her speech is One Scary Dark Night. Please welcome Darlene.
Thank you, Dan. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. I am going to tell you about an event, true story, that happened to me. I was 30 minutes into my commute, and I was pumped. I was excited. I'm in the 2nd week of my month for my sales, and I've already reached my goal. I sold $25,000 today in furniture. I have to set a new goal, raise the bar, so I'm flying high as I'm driving home. I turn off of Highway 41 to a more rural road, which is windy and curvy. It's very dark. The only light are my high beams that are shining on the road. During this time, I am deeply immersed and captivated by the Harry Potter books on tape that I'm listening to. I am in the land of wizards and witches and magic. Which I love, by the way. I come around a bend, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something very dark, very black, very big, with horns. And then I hit it. I hit a cow. There's this loud thump on the roof of my car, and as quick as it happened, it was over. I'm in my car shaking like a leaf. I think I watched too many cartoons as a little girl, because honestly, the first thought that I had was, that cow's going to be really angry at me and he's going to charge my car. So I just sit in my car. 1 minute, 2 minutes, nothing happens. Okay, maybe he's not coming after all. I find a flashlight. I get out of my car, open the door. I shine it, and about 20 feet away on the side of the road is the dead cow, laying on the side of the road. I get back in my car. My windshield is shattered. I can't see where I'm going. About 100 yards ahead is a pull-off, and I pull my car off. I put my flashers on. It is January 2002. I don't own a cell phone. I'm in this very rural area, no cell phone. I sit in my car. It's very dark, very quiet. I hear a vehicle approaching. I get out. I'm waving my flashlight and waving my arms. I just hit a cow. Do you have a cell phone? Guy in a pickup. No, I don't have a cell phone. Within 30 seconds to a minute, I realize this guy is drunk. I'm not going anywhere with him. He goes on his way, thank God. I get back in my car and just wait another 20 minutes. I hear another vehicle approaching. This gal would be my Good Samaritan. She pulls up. I said, I hit a cow. Do you have a cell phone? Yeah, I have a cell phone. Come and get in my car. I had been shivering and shaking. I had heard the term knocking knees. I was experiencing knocking knees. I could have stopped them if I wanted to. I get in her car. The first call I make is to my husband. I said, honey, I just had an accident. He's like, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm okay, but I'm really shaken up. Well, what happened? I hit a cow. You hit a cow? Yeah, I hit a cow. I was walking across the road. I was coming around the bend, and it was dark, and bam, I just hit it. Well, do you want me to come, or are you okay? I said, well, this lady is really nice. I think I'll be okay. She said she'll bring me home. I wait, no kidding, an hour for the police to come. It's very rural. They're moving very slow. Finally, the officer shows up. I remember two things that he asked me. Ma'am, were you wearing your seatbelt? Yes, officer. I was wearing my seatbelt. Ma'am, was the cow walking across the road or was it standing still? Officer, it was walking across the road. I later find out, if the cow had been standing still in the middle of the road, I would have been at fault. Luckily for me, and unluckily for the cow, it was walking across the road. So I was not at fault. I go home. As soon as I see my husband, all the emotions just, I start crying and sobbing, and he wraps his arms around me and just holds me as all my shock, all my trauma, all my anxiety and fear is just making its way out of my body. Because in his arms, I'm in a very safe place. That night, he holds me in bed as I'm just shaking and quivering. until I finally am able to go to sleep. I wake up the next morning. I call the owner of the store where I work. I'm gonna be a little late today. I had an accident last night. Well, honey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm a little shaken up, but I'm okay. Well, what happened? I hit a cow. You hit a cow? Yeah, I hit a cow. Well, how do you hit a cow? Well, it was walking across the middle of the road, and it was dark, and it was black, and bam, I just hit it. I hear this laughter on the other end of the phone. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. You know, this really isn't funny. But you know, this is kind of funny. So for the next month or two, I heard all the jokes of cow killer, roadkill, where's the beef? Where's the ground beef? I did get a cell phone shortly after that. And in this month, which I totaled my car, hit a cow, totaled my car, I also set a sales record and sold over $110,000, which was a personal best for me and for the store. I'm grateful that day that my angels and Spirit was watching over me to protect me, that I can share this story with you today. All I can say is that life happens on a dark, scary night. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Let's take 2 minutes to evaluate Darlene. And now to introduce Diane Denbaum will be Art Atkinson. Let's warmly welcome Art.
So good evening again, Toastmasters and viewers. Diane will be reading a play to us this evening. Her objective in this project, number 4, in the interpretive reading manual, is to adapt a play for interpretive reading. So it will not be the entire play, it will be an excerpt from it. She's going to be using the maximum vocal variety and some movement to portray several different characters in this play, which is entitled Mr. Hare Takes Mr. Leopard for a Ride. The setting is a very long time ago. It's from the Hausa culture of Niger and Nigeria in Western Africa. There are many tricksters in the tales of West Africa folklore. Mr. Hare is a favorite figure of the Hausa culture and is the granddaddy of our American Brer Rabbit character. Please welcome Diane.
Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home. One day, Mr. Hare was sitting out in front of his house. Hey ho, what do you know? What will I do today, today? What will I do today, I say? Oh, what will I do today? Good morning, Mr. Leopard. How are you? Very nice friend. You can't even stop long enough to say hello. I don't know why I'm surprised. The only time you are ever friendly to me is when you think you might be able to trick me and catch me for your next meal. Well, it hasn't worked. I'm too fast for you. Hey ho, what do you know? What do you do today? Hey! Hey, what do you know? Greetings again, Mr. Leopard. Right in front of my door he passes, and not even a nod. He knows I'm safe on my own territory, so he won't bother with me at all. Not even a nod. That's not right. Just because you're big, you should not be rude. At least you can say hello, even if you don't chase me. Hello? Hey ho, what do you know? What do you know today? Today? I know exactly what I'll do today. I'll do something to captivate that leopard. And I don't mean as something to eat.
Ha!
Now, he came from that way, and he's going that way. That means he's not home. I think I'll take a little walk over to his house and leave a little message. Hello there, Mrs. Leopard. Oh, greetings, Mr. Hare. How are you today? Oh, fine. Just fine. How are you? Now, to tell you the truth, I'm not really well. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Hare. Is Mr. Leopard home by any chance? No, he left this morning to go hunting. Oh, that's too bad. I needed to use him. Needed to use him? What do you mean by that? Well, I'm not feeling well, and I want to go to the doctor. It's too far for me to walk this poorly. I thought Mr. Leopard could give me a ride. What do you mean, give you a ride? Well, I don't have a horse to ride, so I thought I would ride Mr. Leopard instead. Ride Mr. Leopard? Are you crazy, you little rabbit? No. I'm sure I could do it. It's a good thing for you he isn't around to hear you say that. He'd eat you up in a minute for being so insolent. Oh, I doubt that. Besides, I know I could ride him, and I'll bet you I will ride before the day is over. You can tell him that for me, if you will. I just can't believe I'm hearing you right. Oh, you're hearing me right. Guess I'll go home and lie down. Goodbye, Mrs. Leopard. Goodbye, Mr. Hare. And you'd better be more careful. Leopards might be big, but they aren't very bright. I'd better get a bridle and a whip ready for my ride. Mr. Hare! Mr. Hare! Greetings, Mr. Leopard. How are you? Greetings, Mr. Hare? I saw you several times earlier. Sorry you didn't have time to say hello. I was in a hurry, Mr. Hare. Well, how are you, by the way? Oh, I'm fine. Listen, Mr. Hare, my wife said you were at my house earlier and boasted you could ride me like a horse. Heavens, that's ridiculous, Mr. Leopard. It's worse than ridiculous, it's insulting. It is very insulting. I'm absolutely furious. I would be too. Wait now. You're the one who said that. My wife said so. Maybe your wife was mistaken. My wife told me very clearly that you told her to give me the message you would ride me like a horse. There must be some mistake. Now, wait a minute. My wife wouldn't just make up a story like that. There's no mistake, and no one is going to make a fool out of me. Certainly not, Mr. Leopard. I want to hear the two of you straighten this out. Come on home with me. I'll ask my wife to repeat the message in front of you. I'd really like to come with you, Mr. Leopard. Oh, but I'm sick. Didn't Mrs. Leopard tell you? I barely made it home myself. Come on, you know I live nearby. That's true. But I'm feeling weaker every minute. I know I'd never be able to walk that far today. I have been insulted today, and the matter is going to be settled. Do you hear? I don't see why it can't wait until I'm feeling stronger. You're coming with me today, even if I have to carry you. All right then. You'll have to carry me. I'm too weak to walk. Hurry up. Get on my back. If you insist. I'm afraid I'll fall off your back while you're running. Do you mind if I get a rope? Nope. I'll just put this rope through your mouth so I'll have something to hang on to. Now I need a little stick. What for? To push aside the branches so they won't knock me off your back while you're running. Okay. I'm ready now. Could you get a little lower? Lower, lower, Mr. Leopard, lower. Steady now, steady now. Let me get a hold of that rope and my stick. Faster, Mr. Leopard, faster. Hello there, Mrs. Leopard. We just came by to check up on the boast that Mr. Hare would ride me like a horse. Well, I'd be going now. I feel lots better. Thanks for the ride. Like a horse! The end.
Welcome back. I think we learned a lot about priorities in our two prepared speeches tonight. So for our general evaluation, let's welcome Gene, Simon, and Craig.
Yay!
Evaluation is where we learn how we did, how well we did, and some things that we might be able to do in the future that would improve our performance even more. Our first evaluator is Dan Craig. Help me warmly welcome Dan. We'll be evaluating Darlene Martin.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and most of all, Darlene. Darlene's project was to incorporate elements of vocal variety. And I think everybody will agree with me that she did it very, very well. Yes?
Yay!
So I'm done. I'm going to go quickly through the manual. Lots of points on this particular project. It asks, did the topic selection facilitate vocal variety? Yes. This story and the way you delivered it was just a great project for this task. Volume. It was excellent. towards the beginning, I noticed she said, "I was pumped, I was excited." And then just a little bit later, she's saying, "Very dark, very quiet." It's very effective. Rate, excellent. There's some good slower paced sections that she used for emphasis of the story. Pitch, very conversational. At one point she was talking about whether or not the cow was walking across the road, and she said, "I would have been at fault." Pitch, rising up, very good. And I particularly noticed in her conversations with her husband and with her boss that as she went back and forth, she had really great variations in pitch, which made it very effective. Quality, pleasant, friendly, yes, absolutely. We just felt like someone was telling us a great story, and she had a nice manner that contributed very well to that. Pauses, yes. Good, appropriate, effective pauses. Everything, by the way, is all in the left column here. There was a nice pause that I noticed before. "It's a very dark night." And it looks like I'm going to have to really put on the afterburners here. Expressiveness. Yes, she conveyed a lot of emotion when she helped us empathize with her, with how shaken she was from the accident. We really felt that along with her. Organization, an interesting story, well told. Word usage, lots of good stuff. I particularly like the use of triads, where she'd say 3 things in a row. Body language, very, very natural, and I noticed it along with your changes in pitch. For example, at one point you said, "shaking like a leaf." I meant to write something else down, but I missed that one. What could the speaker have done differently? The only thing I would suggest is related to use of stage. Use it very well. You actually go from side to side, and so everybody seems included. The only thing I would do is make it a little more purposeful. And I'd stop occasionally in the middle. I think if you'll anchor occasionally, then that will be a stronger point. What did you like? I liked everything. This was fabulous. You knocked it out of the park. We can't wait to hear more. Thank you.
The other Craig.
First. Our next evaluator is Art Atkinson. Please help me warmly welcome Art as he will be evaluating Diane.
So Toastmasters, I think Diane's job was to captivate us with a play, and excellent job doing that. I loved the fact that Hare was so saucy and insouciant. He just had an attitude and it never went away. The trickster character was really beautifully done. So what did I like particularly? Well, she physically represented this character. You know, he's sitting there casually, you know, waving his, you know, she's sitting there in a human position of, I'm casual, I'm at ease, and someone capable of taking you out in a half second is only just out of reach. So that was real effective. The quick double takes were really effective. So her use of movement. So here was Hare's den or lair right here, probably a hole or some, so that he can feel safe and be pretty insouciant with this predator. Then there's Mr. Leopard right here, who just does not have the time or attention for this measly hare. And there's Mrs. Leopard, who was over here some distance away at Leopard's home. So she used space pretty effectively, and the little round trips were good. So the physical movement pretty much identified 3 special spots. The front of Hare's Den, where Leopard stands a few yards away, and some distance away where Mrs. Hare's got home. This is one of those unusual projects where eye contact is not deemed appropriate. Her job was to be reading it to us, not totally acting out the play, using movement, but not totally giving the play, reading it to us. So most of the time her attention was in the book, and when she was looking at the audience, it was more like over our head. She wasn't directly delivering lines to any one of us, and that is actually a criterion in these notes. Was the plot of the play clear? Well, it became pretty clear right away what Hare was going to try to do. And it became more and more clear. The climax was pretty successfully built too. If there was any improvement I could suggest, it would be twofold. One is that, in my estimate, Mrs. Leopard was not quite as distinct from Mr. Leopard as she could have or should have been. Could have been more of a feminine take on Mrs. Leopard. And ride him like a horse, right at the end, which is the I did it, I told you I was going to do it, and I did it, was not quite as climactic as it could have been. There was some little something missing. I haven't quite figured out what it was yet. Overall, wow, great. This was fun to listen to. Would you agree, folks?
Yeah!
Ms. Timer,
Okay.
did our evaluators all qualify, including Stacy, our table topics evaluator?
Very good. They all did.
Okay, great. So would you read the names, please?
Everybody that
Just the Stacy, the 3 evaluators.
Stacy, Van, and Art.
Would you please vote for one of those 3? Very good. Now we will hear the enchanting, captivating reports from our role players tonight. First, our timer, Vera.
Thank you. I was very captivated by how some used their 30-minute grace period. Tom had 1 minute 50 seconds. John, 2 minute 19 seconds. Cindy, 2 minute 13 seconds. Art, 2 minute 20 seconds. That was for the table topics. And prepared speeches, Darlene, her choice was 7 to 9 minutes. She did 8 minutes 20 seconds. Diane, her choice was 8 to 10 minutes. She did 8 minutes 56 seconds. Stacy, in evaluating, did 2 minutes 50 seconds. And speech evaluators, Dan, 3 minutes 24 seconds. Art, 3 minutes 20 seconds. Thank you.
Now we'd like a 1-minute report from our counselor, Jesus Gilles.
I jotted down 9 R's from jotting, 1 like, 4 so's, 1 and 4 repeats. Marlene, she got a clear slate. Vera, 1 a, 1 1 so, and 2 ands. Louis, clean slate. Tom, I really listened really hard for find any flaws on Tom, and I couldn't find anything. John, 1 2 so's. Cindy, clean slate.
Wow.
Art, 3 ands, 10 so's, 1 but, and 1 you know what. when you know what, as referring to his butt. Stacy.
I think I got that.
Stacy. 13 arms, 1 leg, 7 toes, 2 butts, 2 arms. Dan, Darlene, Diane, and Jean, Queen Slate. That's my report for tonight.
Want to quickly say, compliment Jesus on his counting, because I was looking over as soon as they started, and they always start fairly quickly, and he was on the case. I was looking over, he was jotting, and just kept going like that. So it was really, really good, really well done, and I'm glad you caught all those. All right. Our next report, 2-minute report from our grammarian, Jyoti Raj.
Hello, Toastmasters. The word of the day was captivate or captivating. Today the word was used by almost everybody, and it was, I counted, it was used for 15 times. And everybody has, I don't think there's any misuse of the language. I heard everybody, and it was a proper, and today everybody did a good job, but at the same time I couldn't notice that much of the piece of good language is also, I mean, the words and phrases. Today I couldn't notice as all the day I used to do. Anyway, I have some of these, few of them. That's one Tom said, Cosmic Intelligence Agency, give you long-term plan, only 1 minute or something like that. And Fairfield is the biggest outpatient health clinic. You don't know which doctor and which patient. That was really touchy. Okay, and then so the third point of the scenario was the good one. The third priority of yours is they should have fun. Have fun. That was good, and Americans should take the nose out of other countries. And that was one thing that I felt very good, because that was a new word for me, as English is my second language. Knocking knees. So I remember that word, knocking knees. And shaking like a leaf. Yeah, that was a very good word. And this type of thing is, the day of the word is very good for the people like who has the second language, use English as second language. Because for my language, it often happens that we use one word for so many, I mean, one word has a lot of meanings in my language. So we use very few words than in English. So for us, we don't use much of the, we can't select a lot of words in English because we are habitual to our language. So in English, we have a lot of words. So this practice makes us this, I mean, chance to learn new words every week. So that.
Master, Mr. Burns, Will Burns.
Thank you, Jean. Wrong priorities. A very successful lawyer parked his brand new Lexus in front of the office, ready to show it off to his colleagues. As he opened the door, a truck came along and completely tore off the driver's side door. The attorney immediately grabbed his cell phone, hit speed dial for 911, and had a policeman there in 3 minutes. Before the cop had a chance to ask any question, the lawyer started screaming hysterically. He had just picked up this Lexus the day before, and now there is no body shop that could possibly make it the way that it was. After the lawyer finally wound down from his rant, the cop shook his head in disgust. I can't believe how materialistic you lawyers are, he said. You're so focused on your possessions that you didn't notice anything else. How can you say such a thing? He responded indignantly. The cop replied, "You didn't even notice that your left arm is missing." How about down? It must have been lost when the truck hit you. "Oh no!" screamed the lawyer in shock. "Where is my Rolex?"
Very good. As the general evaluator, I'm going to make some comments on evaluating. I just did what I'm going to say for Stacy. One thing I noticed that Stacy did a lot is every one of her sentences almost was going up at the end. The next one is John Weiss. He used the word of the day. That kind of upward at the end. You know what I'm talking about? It's like that. Statements go down. Questions go up. If you're making a statement, and it's easy to get into because a lot of people don't want to confront, so they kind of say a statement, but they'll put it as a question mark, like, do you agree with me? Like that. But it's a statement. So don't get in the habit of going up all the time. It's something that you read about and hear about. Although young women who are trendsetters are doing it a lot, so you're kind of on trend. So quickly here, suggestion. She gave a good suggestion to John not to apologize for anything, which is good. And Tom, no suggestions for Tom. Could have told Tom that maybe a magenta shirt for variety would be good. Cindy, a suggestion to move based on the points that she was making. Very good. Used a little more filler words tonight. Stacy using a lot of so's and ums and right. So just, maybe it's been a long day. Brain sometimes doesn't quite connect. I really like the good demonstrations that you did. You were out and you were demonstrating how people are this and that. So really, it's always fun to watch your body in motion, Stacy, because you're very graphic with your body. Okay. Dan and Darlene. Dan, positives, gave very manual specific evaluation. We want to make sure that Darlene gets the feedback specific to that project. Gave special examples. Pumped! Dark, quiet. And then felt Dan demonstrates everything, which is very good. Dan also smiles throughout his evaluations. I feel, even whatever he's talking about, he enjoyed the speech. Didn't that make you feel good? It's like he's trying to keep his enthusiasm curbed. Okay, that's nice. Suggestion, a little bit more purposeful walking. I would say suggestion for Dan, don't comment on the time. Oh, it looks like I'm running out of time here, so I better wrap it up. It's waste. So just keep going and note the time in here and bring it to an end. For anybody. It's kind of like a variation on apologizing. Art, evaluating Diane, gave good examples of movement, the leg, the double takes, mentioned locations and staging, which is really nice, and did actually pick up a little bit what I was thinking too, differentiating of the characters a little bit more by voice, so that Mrs. Leopard and Mr. Leopard and the hair sounded a little different, more different. More different. Suggestion for Art. Wasn't sure how much he was sticking to the manual, so I wasn't quite sure. I would be very interested to know what the manual was saying was necessary to be evaluated. He did refer at one point to something, but I wasn't sure if he was going down, and I was very interested to hear how you evaluate that kind of project specifically from the manual. And also, Art had a little more frequent use of you know and so than he often does, but that's all right. Finally, is a cow, we had a little gender question here tonight. The cow had horns, and then she talked about he. Now, do cows have horns?
Yes. Some do, from both genders.
Okay, some do. And are cows, can you have a he cow?
No.
Okay, so it was definitely a she cow.
don't
So that would have been the grammarian. Who was the grammarian? Please, the grammarian. We got to get the genders correct in our
stories.
All
right.
We're talking about male cows and dogs.
Most native English speakers are confused with that one. That's a little much to throw at.
All right, I'm just saying.
Cows
Saying, I
are
noticed. All right, with that, very excellent evaluations. I'm going to hand it over to our Toastmaster, but we do need to keep moving because we have some election things to go.
Yes.
Okay, welcome back. And now we will have awards. Best table topics goes to Tom Trainer. Best speaker. Diane Denbaugh. And best evaluator. Okay, I would like to recognize both of them. There was a tie. I know we're not supposed to. Anyway, I would like to recognize both of our evaluators, Dan and Art. You can fight over the award.
Thanks so much. All right. Oh, here, we can.
Yeah, there you go.
So for number 6, vocal variety goes to Darlene Martin. And now I'll turn it over to Tom Trainer, or actually to Seth Braun, who will conduct our officer elections.
Toastmasters. It's good to be back. I was out in Michigan over the weekend, gave 3 talks on the road, feeling sleep deprived. It's good to see you all once again in an altered state. It's awesome. Did I tell you last time about the humorous experience I had with Toastmasters?
Yes.
Did? About the half, did I tell you about the half? What you get at the halfway mark?
Oh, yeah, the
when you get
half
5
competent
speeches,
ribbon.
you get the half competent ribbon. Someone actually, there's a club actually giving away half competent ribbons.
It's in the quote. You can buy it. They sell them. Half competent.
Congratulations, you're half competent.
Half, right?
Here we are together. We're going to conduct elections. Now, elections are this cool thing where people get to step up and take responsibility for the club working. But the funny thing is, everybody gets to step up and take responsibility for the club working. And if you're wondering, how does the club work? How does this all happen? Actually, it's you. And you, and you, showing up in the space as if the club depends on you every time. Because you know what? It does. It's not me. It's not Ron Kerr. It's not Tom Trainer. It's not Gene Simonton Craig. It's not happening because there's a couple people here who are like, you know, must know something that you don't. There's not a whole lot more to what's going on here. It's just a little bit of extra work that the officers do. And it's because of them that we get to have a good time and be with each other and grow. Being an officer is an honor, and it's part of the Toastmasters promise. It's something that everybody that became a Toastmaster said, I will be an officer if someone asks me to. Did you know that? Someone in the club just has to ask, and you have to say yes. Technically, you already made that agreement. So we hold elections to select those that are best prepared and ready to serve. People that are best prepared and ready to serve. And when you step into this role, you become a conduit. You step into a circuit in which a higher order of energy moves through you for the club. And it's cool because it supports you in developing your own leadership and communication, persuasion, responsibility, which means the ability to respond to life. So we're going to move through a simple officer election process. I'll tell you briefly what's going to happen. The nominating chair is the past president, that's me. I'm going to tell you who we've nominated. We're going to call the members here a quorum because we can. We're going to review our voting procedure, which basically is we'll call for nominations 3 times for each role. If there are no additional nominations, we'll proceed as planned. If there are, we have the opportunity, if there are more than one person selected for each role, then there will be cage fight.
Yeah.
No, there will be each person will have an opportunity to give a short 1 to 2 minute speech on why they are the better candidate, if it comes to that. If there is only one candidate and they're running unopposed, we have the opportunity as a club for the secretary to cast 1 vote to nominate and elect that person. And we do not need to use secret ballot. So without further ado, we will jump right into it. There are 7 positions. The candidates that have been nominated are for President Will Burns. You can clap now. For Vice President of Education, we have Jyoti Raj Adhikari and Rahul Vats sharing 6-month terms.
Wow.
For Vice President of Membership, we have Jesus Rios.
Yo!
For Vice President of Public Relations, we have Bert Chanowski. For Secretary, we have none other than Gene Simonton Craig. And get this, for Treasurer, we have Art Atkinson. And to complete the perfect storm, the winning lineup for 2012-2013, we have Sergeant at Arms Vera Rhodes coming back for a second term. For the office of, and here we're going to do protocol for 1 moment. For the office of President, are there any further nominations from the floor? Are there any further nominations from the floor? Any further nominations from the floor for President? None heard. Further office of Vice President of Education, are there any nominations from the floor? Any nominations? Any nominations for Vice President of Education? None heard. We are moving along. For the office of Vice President of Membership, any nominations from the floor? Nominations from the floor. Any nominations to the floor? Vice President of Membership? None heard. Office of Vice President of Public Relations, any nominations from the floor? Nominations from the floor. Nominations from the floor for Vice President of Public Relations? None heard. We're moving on. Protocol. For the Office of Secretary, any nominations from the floor? Nominations from the floor, anybody? Bueller? Nominations from the floor? That's a generational joke there. For the position of Secretary, none heard. Moving along. For the Office of Treasurer, are there any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? For Secretary, none heard. Moving along. For the Office of Treasurer, any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Nominations from the floor for Treasurer, none heard. Moving along. And Sergeant at Arms. Anybody want to nominate someone for Sergeant at Arms?
From
Sergeant at Arms. Anyone want to nominate someone for Sergeant at Arms? None. Moving along. Since each position is unopposed, the secretary may cast a single vote in favor.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. These officers have been elected and will be inducted next week on June 26th at Diane's home. We're going to have a party. We're going to have
And
food.
Louis will be there too.
Louis will be there too.
Oh, good, now Noah will show up.
Just in case you need to, if we need to formalize any legal agreements.
I will audit the records of the treasurer next week.
I get to turn the meeting over to our president to close the meeting this evening. Mr. President.
Right, Don.
Congratulations, new officers. You need your service. Jean would like to make a comment.
One of the outgoing roles of the current secretary is to submit the new officer list to Toastmaster International. Needs to be done by June 30th. It is one of the DCP goals. So now you know what you need to submit.
And may I call Veera to make an announcement regarding the party next week.
The party. The party, and part of the party is yummy food and snacks, finger foods, right?
I think so.
So let me know what you're capable of bringing, and I and a couple others will fill in what's yet needed. So after the meeting, come to me and let me know. Thank you.
Election accomplished. See you all next week at the party at Diane's home. Meeting adjourned.